I know.
All right, I just started recording too, so like,
Yo,
You paying,
y'all check
you
out them
paying for
playoffs this
dinner, right?
weekend.
you paying?
Oh,
Yeah, I
my
mean,
fault, man.
yeah. This like it's $2.50 a plate. I know that because I'm best man.
$2.50 a plate.
Eddie.
Man,
Oh,
y'all
he
should have done
fancy,
brunch.
man. You know where he live at, right? You've been
Yeah,
to
I
his
do. I
place.
just
Like
threw it
why?
here,
Well, like why
but
are we
still,
surprised? Why are we
just cause,
surprised?
man, brunch. Me and Aisha did a brunch buffet, man. That
All
shit.
right. Oh, hold on. We need to get in. Hold on. All right. Let's go ahead. All right. Let me.
We recording or we're not recording yet?
No, we are recording. Let's go ahead and start the show. Hey.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, let's go. Pop Talk, episode 11. Y'all know what it is. It's Professor Nims, and I am joined by the other pundits of pugilism. I want to give it out to my man with the best name in boxing media, the Casual Ran.
What up? What up?
All right, and philosophical, metaphysical. You know how it is. The coach, the one that kind of gives us this holistic take on this boxing game, Coach Dave.
Oh.
And you know what it is, Boston Jared. Don't forget the S, Boston only.
Yeah, I got the beard game on lock.
Oh yeah, I just trim mine a little bit, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But let's go ahead and get into our 11th episode. So we are getting up there, the number 11. And so we had some PBC, you can say chess moves. It seemed a little bit more like checkers for me, but they had some fights this weekend. Gary Russell led the card. We can kind of talk about the results of his fight. Was it controversial or not? And then where does he stand within the landscape of the kind of featherweight and lightweight division? Matias had a Rock'em and Sock'em fight, and he was able to avenge his only loss for this weekend. And we also had a controversial, some say, I thought it might have been fitting, Lucas against Nayambayar. And then there's also, we'll kind of talk about it, but I want to make sure that we put it in its proper context, because there was some news that came down about Anthony Joshua accepting 15 million pound. It wasn't dollars, so we want to make sure that the currency is correct. But I heard that this may be capped. We're going to go and definitely look into this. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic for this evening. Now, do we feel that Gary Russell was fair to the Wolves? So we know that he lost his title. It was a very close fight. I actually read a few different opinions on the fight. I think for me, it's kind of hard to argue just with his boxing style and his kind of his inactivity, and then he's using one less weapon that he can kind of argue. And the fact his argument was real delusional. He felt he won maybe 10-2 or 9-3. It was definitely a close fight. He was I know hurt. He was definitely stunned a few times, but he is somebody who has is clearly defined himself as a master boxer within the landscape. But that's one of the reasons why it's so frustrating when you think about Gary Russell Jr. is because we want to see him and what he could do against some of these other fighters, which he doesn't mind talking about, but it's a different thing when it comes to getting in the ring with these fighters. So let's kind of just jump it off with that topic. We can just talk about the fight as a whole, if you think that he was robbed, or if you feel that PBC maybe are kind of cashing in their chips on one Mr. Gary Russell Jr.
What do you mean cashing in their chips? You said a couple things. You said fed to the wolves. You said cashing in chips. What do you mean exactly? If we're gonna really flesh this out thoroughly and objectively, I want to make sure I know exactly what it is you're asking.
All right, and I will throw that to the casual Ram because he actually posed this and he said that.
Well, I asked that because like Gary put out that he was injured like 2 weeks. He said it was an old injury, but he re-aggravated it 2 weeks ago. So
I can confirm that. We had a cat come in the barbershop, one of his people that was saying the dude was hurt, but he was still gonna fight. Everybody looked at him.
And it seemed like he was pretty much forced to fight because what played out afterwards. Like at any champion, well, most champions, if you held the belt for that long, you would be, and then he was in the ring noticeably hurt. I would have bet money that he would have a rematch clause, or the WBC will be like, yo, he was hurt, he was our champion, let it run him back. 3 days after the fight, they announced that Maxoya is facing Ray Vargas.
Right.
Which is Ray Vargas is the mandatory now. So you have back-to-back mandatories because Maxoya was the mandatory for Gary Russell. Now Ray Vargas is the mandatory for Maxoya, which is I wouldn't say unheard of, but that's kind of fishy, man.
We know what time it is. We know what time it is. That's going to be a big fight out in California. We talked about this last week, or was I talking to somebody else, man? Philippines versus Mexico in Southern California. That's big dollars, man. You already know what time it is, man.
Yeah, but
that's a lot of parts and a lot of conspiracy theory,
man. So I think the only choice he got left is probably to go up.
Yeah, but I mean
but now he got Leo still.
But I mean, hold on, one question. Hold on 1 second, because you asked a question, right, Boston Jared, you about him being thrown to the wolves in there. So, but that was essentially why the casual Ran thought that because of those factors, I'm in there.
He didn't get thrown to no damn wolves. Moxio, this guy wasn't on nobody's radar, man. If he got thrown to like Tank, if they were like, oh, you fighting Tank with a jacked up shoulder, or you fighting whoever, this guy Moxio wasn't on nobody's radar. He was kind of a puncher, right? So he ain't get thrown to no damn wolves.
He has some notoriety from the gym that he came from, and he was kind of seen as a understudy of Pacquiao in there, but not very crude, but when it comes to a master boxer like Gary Russell Jr., this was not something that was a big kind of obstacle to overcome. I think part of it is that Gary doesn't fight that much, and he has to support his family, and we talked about his father dealing with some health issues. So he didn't have any other choice but to accept this fight because he needed this money in there. And that's what it happens. And like, that's the sad reality sometimes.
I got an emergency room bill from a few weeks ago, man, just for like urinalysis and ultrasound. Dude, I don't even want to tell you, if you're uninsured in this country, dude, like health costs are astronomical, man. He had to bury his brother. Unfortunately, a few months ago, his father has got diabetes, had to have his foot amputated. He's got kids. He's training his brothers. I don't know how much cost this cat is incurring. Dude, so you goddamn right. He would have gone in there with one leg or one arm if he had to, man. And for what, a $500,000 purse that amounts to $275 or $300,000 after taxes and all that. Luckily, he doesn't have training fees, right? Because he trained himself.
He doesn't have that. So he's got maybe cutmans and sanctioning bodies. So they're definitely going to come after a lot of that. That's
so he wants to win with about $275.
Yeah. I think that's a product of a couple of, a few factors, but two main factors is, of course, is the kind of unfair kind of pay scale and stuff that we have kind of talked about, even though he does, I think, get in previous fight, he has been paid pretty well in correlation to
1.5 for Jojo Diaz. 1.5
exactly.
for Jojo. I
Um,
believe. Don't quote me on that.
yeah. So and also it's his inactivity, which hasn't kind of I don't know if he has a lot of things outside, and we don't want to kind of get into that. But Coach Dave, do you have any thoughts on
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Oh, specifically to the topic, man. I'll put it to you like this, man. There ain't no you at Gary Russell's level. Um, be honest with you, in this sport, there ain't no such thing as being thrown to the wolves. When you done been in there with Lomachenko and stuff like that, let's you're a pro fighter, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
now that might be, there might be something to say, okay, was he just done wrong? Because I mean, boxing can be kind of crooked like that. But in terms of being thrown to the wolves, I don't care if you put him in there with Tank. I don't care who you put him in there with. When you're at this level, you either ready to bring that thump or you're not. And one of the things a lot of people have been talking about, is just simply, a lot of these fights are not getting made. So just, on the whim that people do start making a bunch of great fights, hey, we can't say folks are getting thrown to the wolves. I will say this about that opponent though, man. So like, I did a pretty good look at the guys' opponents, right? Really, probably not no super duper big names, but these guys had some solid, decent records that won't necessarily built on scrubs. So
Oh
I
yeah,
thought the
absolutely.
fight, yeah, I'm talking about my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check them out. You know what I'm saying? So
Max
I thought,
Style. Yeah, definitely. And he's
yeah,
spoke before, and he's somebody they have kind of propped up in there, but but go ahead in there. So yeah, so he did have some background,
yeah,
to
he and so
qualify
he
him.
it was it was a great match. Now, whether Gary was hurt or not, that's another thing. Let me say this too. You know, um, not getting into the money and all this stuff, man. But if you hurt and you step in that ring, dude, you got to fight.
You got yeah.
If you get hurt while you're in the ring, you either gonna fight or you're not gonna fight. Tank, prime example. I thought he lost the fight. Had he been able to really, really use both hands, one thing that caught me off guard too, though, man, is I was, guy was touching Gary a little bit, but I was still amazed at kind of how elusive Gary was, man. I think I've seen him faster, to be honest with you, man. I
Yeah.
think I've seen hands significantly faster than at the fight, man. So I do think he lost. I agree with whoever said he was delusional, man. And then just another thing too, man, just not getting outside of boxing, like you said, Cam, just to kind of close it out, man, is you know, fighters take fights for many different reasons, man. And I don't really say a whole lot because I don't know what investments this man made, you know what I'm saying, with the money that he got. We don't know if he took it because he just broke hard up. And the things that Jared mentioned were great points. But all we know is this: you stepped in that ring in the condition that you was in, and you were supposed to fight. So ain't no excuses in it. Ain't no excuses in it whatsoever. Ain't no throwing to the wolves. Ain't no excuse. I don't care, you know, who it is. If you are at that level, there just ain't no such thing as that, man. So that's my take on it, brother.
Yeah.
Do
I think
you, Dave? Do you think that he sat at that 120? He's a little guy. I run into him a couple times. He lived down the street from me practically. He's been at that weight for almost his entire career. Right at 33 years old, given his dimensions, is it time for him to move up? Is that affecting his performance plus the inactivity, or is he a guy because of his size he can continue to make that 126 forever and ever?
Everything you said, man, is like a great point. I mean, honestly, Jared, that is, man, that is probably a question in boxing that has so many different answers that you can't answer that question wrong. Like honestly speaking, man.
yeah,
So
there's a lot
so
of different arguments. Yeah.
so to the point one, if he can make the weight at 126 and he want to clean it up and he want to make all his money that fight Leo Santa Cruz, whoever he want to fight, the new up and comers, and then get up out the game, with all the money he made, fine. You know what I'm saying? And if you can make the money that you want to make, I don't know about going up, man, because once you do start getting older a little bit, man. And like I said, I saw a little bit. He just wasn't as fast and crisp as I thought, as I've seen him. Then you risk, like, when you step up, man, you risk really getting some challenges. I'll say it that way. Me personally, if you can hold the weight and make the money you want to make, then hey, dominate that division. But it's all about, and the reason why I say it was such a great question, Jared, to this point, man, it's all about the goals of that fighter. You got some that said, I want to be a 3-division champion, a 4-division champion. It's about that fighter. You know what I'm saying? Now, and I say that, the caveat, sometimes Joker's just scared to go up and feel that extra thump and move up to 130, 135. So it just was a great question, man. And I hope that makes sense.
Is, yeah. And there's a lot of different arguments, and I will say, so I'll say something, and then we'll let the casual rant end it. Is so one is, I think that with Gary Russell Jr. is that he is not the type that he is disciplined, so he's not a Ricky Fadden, back in the day. So he doesn't blow up and all that. Yeah. So he stays. He has a good diet. So and there is something to be said about cleaning out a division. And historically, for the lower weights, featherweight has been one of the it has potential to be a glamour division, depending, like, if there's good competition there, right? So remember the Barrera, Nassim and all those. So there is opportunity there. But and you also have to understand, sometimes there's a threshold as far as with how your talent can, like, overcome some of your disadvantages when it comes to being a small guy in there. So that's what, Floyd, he never he never did 160, right? So he did like the 154 fight. He never did, yeah. So he never, right. He kind of knew that.
He never came in at 154 though. He was always,
yeah. He never even did that. But yeah, but even to try to do like a 158 or something, he knew that there was a certain threshold for that. But even for now, because he's just he's not a big guy, but he knew that was around where, that. So I think that's but that's a great question, like I said. So there's a lot of different things that kind of play into that. So we'll still kind of talk about this PBC card, but we'll kind of wrap it up with the casual Rand's take on.
Just to wrap it up, man. The fight itself, I still believe Gary Russell can dominate that weight class. I mean, he lost, but I wholeheartedly believe a healthy Gary Russell beats him, and then beats Dela Cruz, and he can clean up that weight class. I compare it to what he's going to be going through now within the next 6 months, the same as Lomachenko. When Lomachenko lost to Teofimo, he came out the next day and said he had a shoulder injury, and everybody gave him the benefit of the doubt and was like, "Yo, he lost that one, but he's not finished. He can still do damage." So Gary just lost this one. He has an injury too. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He comes back and he gets a belt back. That's
that's a good take. So let's talk about a potential, I guess, player within the 140-pound division who was also on the card. So I mean, I'll have my little bit of a rant in there in this sense, but I mean, I thought this PBC card was a little bit underwhelming. I mean, it did have to compete with UFC and all that, but saying that to say, we can talk about the fight, but I also want to talk about it. Do we see Matias, who was doing a rematch with and they helped me with his name, a Nanyan, who was actually the only person who actually had fought him two previous fights before and beat him in a unanimous decision. It was a very thrilling fight, I will say. I thought it was a human version of Rock'em Sock'em. And actually, I kind of brought this up here because this is like, I actually got this from my missus for Christmas, because if people know me, they know that I'm a collector and I do some different toys and stuff. So if you want to know what that fight looked like, because there was actually one guy was white and black. It looked like that right there.
So I mean, Cam, man, you
They basically just stood and did that for the whole time.
You being almost hypocritical with your statements. Like okay, it was competing against UFC. You know what I'm saying? Let's compare the UFC fight. You got two heavyweights that were just laying on each other for pretty much the whole fight, and then you get a boxing fight where you saying that it's rock'em sock'em. So which one would you rather see? Two big dudes laying on each other, huffing and puffing, or two boxers getting at it?
That was definitely rock'em sock'em. But
what Cam is saying is though that the people who decided to buy UFC already bought UFC, right? It's not like
I understand, but you know what I'm saying? Now you're going after, what are you going after? Like, I wanted to see an entertaining card, no matter whose name was on it. And that PBC card was entertaining. The Lucas Mayimbar was entertainment. The Matias was entertainment. The Gary Russell was entertaining because he was hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Russell, like, that was like Gary Russell.
So that's three fights right there. That was very
but those other guys, I struggle to really think that they are players within their weight.
But you looking
King Tuggins though, that's not true. King Tuggins.
I mean, so we haven't talked about that fight. I wanted to.
Look at the product that's in front of you and look at that individual fight, not who their name is and what they're going to do next. I'm looking at that fight and those fights individually.
Yeah. So let's talk about one thing at a time. So let's talk about the Matias versus the Enayan fight, and then your kind of views on that. We don't have to talk about the aesthetics of it, but we can kind of talk about the fight. I mean, I thought I'm gonna be honest, when I was watching it, I thought, I was like, they would be like that, like this would, like they would be, because this was like, this was kind of a set. I mean, it might be a session that we kind of might like appreciate, because they stood in there, and then they fought, and
they fought, bro. They fought, man. They fought. They fought. I don't care what nobody say, and it looked like this. This is what I do it. They fought, and it's like each one of them knew, I'm gonna win this one. You ain't gonna just keep lumping me up, and then the other one was like, I'm tearing your ass up again. You know what I'm saying? It's like they
did not give an inch.
Right. The whole fight, it was like from beginning to end.
To begin, them jokers fought, dude. And I ain't gonna, whether I know you or not. You know what I'm saying? Think about when you're in a club and you see some jokers just haul off and start banging. I don't care whether I know you or not, dog. They scrapping. Them boys, they going at it, man. And also does though, man. What that does, it makes you look at individuals to possibly say, this name needs to go on my radar, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't think
that. I thought that both of them are lesser from that fight, and none of them show me anything that anybody in that weight class would be like scared of.
I haven't looked at the CompuBox stuff. Normally I go back. Now that wasn't the fight that I went normally go check all that stuff out on. You know what I'm saying? Because
but it was a lot of damage. It was a lot, and these are not. So I'm not saying that. I would probably can, but these are not small guys. Like they're pretty like medium-sized guys, and I'm saying that if you would consider me medium-sized or that. So, but they're like maybe a little bit smaller than me, but that's just a lot of.
If it was two fighters you knew. If that was Tank and Devin Haney fighting that same fight, how would you call it? How would you?
I don't think it would. But for one, if all right, I'm gonna come to that. But for example, if I saw like a Prime Floyd kind of fight like that, then I would think that he maybe had lost a step. or something like that. Like he was not able to avoid punches and kind of doing that. So if I was, so part of me is that I'm thinking of if I was in their corner, I'd be like, hey, I'm not gonna let you take those punches. Those particularly for Ananya, you know, we was like, those are you taking some clean punches to the head. I'm not gonna throw you out there, you know, because those are the ones, those knockouts where you get your clock clean and you out, you can actually recover pretty well. The ones that are damaging, that leaves you bleeding on the brain, are just when you have a lot of heart and you get hit hard enough to get shook and your face busted up, but you don't go down. And to me, and you don't see a lot of people really recover well from those type of fights.
So Cameron, this guy, Matias, is 18-1 with 18 knockouts, and he avenged his only loss.
And I know, and he has nobody on his.
So, but still, you know what I'm saying? What? And he's Puerto Rico, and they saying that he's like a baby Trinidad. I don't believe that, but you know what I'm saying? That record can be, you know what I'm saying? You can sell him to get up there. I think he's a little too old to be like up and coming, but I think he will be in his a name. I think he could get into the top 5. He could crack the top 5.
Dadashev, Maxim Dadashev is a name that I recognize. Oh, you know, he's got Breedis Prescott too.
Yeah, Breedis Prescott. He fought him when he had 13 losses. And like, I remember when Breedis Prescott was like undefeated phenom.
The Conqueror, coming off.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When he smashed the Khan. So, and then he fought him when he had 13 losses. So that just tells you.
I mean, he's a live fighter. He ain't no bum. So I want to see him with better competition. But that's somebody I will when I see on Fox that he's going to fight next, I'm gonna watch it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Tell me a fight that you want to see him against at 140.
Oh, super lightweight.
Yeah, he's super light. He's 140. Tell me a fight. So let's talk about the next fight.
Well, that's he's a PBC guy, so there's not a lot of inventory that PBC has at 140 for this guy. I mean, you've got Prograis, who is kind of a free agent, I believe.
I think he would smash him within 3 rounds. Prograis would like smash him.
You've got Gary, I guess, Antoine Russell. Who's the one that's getting ready to fight Victor Postal? Is that Antoine or Antonio? Which Gary Russell? You got one of the Russell brothers at 140.
That's not Antonio.
Is it Antoine?
No, Antoine is the 118 one. Antoine is like 118, I think.
In either case, you've got one of the Russells who's up there at 140 for him to fight.
Yeah, no, that 141 is sharp, bro. He's sharp. Well, all of them sharp, but I know the 141. He's sharp, bro.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, the one that I will like. He would smash Matias.
Nobody likes to hear this, but all roads lead through Josh Taylor at 140. I mean, he's the undisputed.
That's clear, but like, I think we're kind of we're getting ahead of ourselves, right? So
and Josh Taylor ain't gonna stay there that much longer. So
yeah, you would think so. Yeah, this kid at 18-1, coming off a win. Maybe he gets the winner of Postal, Gary of the Russell brothers. Maybe, I don't know. Russell versus Postal. He gets that winner. You've got the Barthelme brothers too. You've got Rancé and LeDuan Barthelme, who haven't fought in 2 years, but those guys are 135, 140. You've got Bunny Easter too, who is at 140, I believe. So,
well, I mean,
you got Mikey. You got Mikey, who's a free agent too. Puerto Rico versus Mexico.
I mean, but with that said, so I mean, I don't want to be too critical, but is this what we expect from PBC? The kind of fights that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on, man. Absolutely. Hold on. Well, I mean, you gotta be even across the board, man. I ain't gonna let y'all take shots like that.
I'm just saying, I don't know. These are fights that people want to see.
But we just broke it down. Those were exciting fights. Like people
They were
that
I know
exciting
that,
fights.
but like
Hey,
I could go
that wasn't
to
a good
a,
game.
exciting fights
I could
People
go
that
to
wanna see good fights, those
I
were
could see a
actually good
barnyard
fights.
fight, but we want to see the highest level and all those. And like that was what kind of PBC promised with this big rollouts and all this other things. So,
Cameron, all right,
Let me
but
ask
tell
Randy,
me a
let me ask you
promotion
a
company
question.
that's doing that.
hold on, Randy, hold on. Like let
Top,
him.
top rankers.
What?
One. Let me ask you a question, Randy. Do you think the matchmakers at PBC knew when they saw Sabril Matias and this guy Anayan, and they put this fight in Atlantic City, which is a no man's land at this point in everyone's life, right? Do you think that they thought this was going to be a barn burner of a fight, or do you think they were like these
Yes,
guys?
because
We need
this was a
these guys
rematch.
have dates.
This was their second fight. So yes, they knew that this was going to be a good fight.
But why
There
did
was
they
some
put
history, like there was definitely some history in there. But I mean to think that, you know, this is the type of events that's going to capture the attention and the amount, you know, you're the casual fan, and we got to think about the casual fan in this. Like, we love the sport. Like, we'll dissect these fights and we'll get in there. But I am being critical of the PBC in there, but I'm just doing it for the kind of sake of conversation. But I do think that they have not done, like, held up the end of the bargain, because, you know, particularly like they have this really kind of like fancy veneer kind of gill that they throw out, but when you actually break it down and kind of look at the product, it's not really that impressive.
It's mediocre. It's
mediocre.
horribly,
Man, y'all
horribly
are
mediocre.
Me. Y'all are killing me, because the PBC didn't make their bed at 140, 135, 130. Look, so you need to be calling out Golden Boy and Top Rank for where are those high risk, high spectacular fights at those weight classes.
What do you mean? We got Loma and Teofimo.
Y'all been talking about Loma for a while, man. I ain't seen that fight.
Well, hold on. We got Shakur and Jamel Herring.
Wait. No, well, dog, Jamel Herring, dog, was 110 years old, man. We that won't know. I mean, was that fight super exciting to you?
Oh,
was that fight?
No, it wasn't. Okay,
so
I'll give you another one.
What y'all talking about?
I'll give you another one. We got Valdez Burchell too. We got Valdez Burchell, and we're about to get Valdez Shakur.
We about to get the Charlo brothers.
Who?
Charlo Casano.
And then we get the like Crawford against Porter. We just got that fight, and then
that's PBC.
Yeah, I mean, but that was them coming together, and then we Lomachenko has, you know, to his credit, I think fought like top level people in there, and then we can kind of talk about them within their own entity. So we're not trying to do like a correlation.
You bringing up one fighter like Jamel Charlo ain't never fought no top ranked fighter. I don't understand what you're saying. You saying the PBC, but then now you saying individual fighters, because we got individual fighters on PBC whose resume is just as strong. Tell me somebody who got a stronger resume than Jamel right now.
Only Canelo Alvarez, probably.
All right, then he's a free agent. Maybe fighting with PBC. So come on with that, man.
So
don't go with the
I don't see how that's an argument
fights.
for the PBC. I don't understand that. But all right, because we want to give attention to the to actually I thought was a very highly competitive and highly skilled fight, was the Lucas versus Nyambayar fight, which was and I did kind of step on my tongue a little bit, which King Tut is a player within his division, and I thought that this fight was a you did kind of see those things that I'd like to see, that not only two fighters who are not afraid to engage, but they're showing kind of all facets of the fight game, right? So they were like hitting and like countering and doing things. So thoughts on that as far as it being a I don't know how controversial a draw was for that fight. I think a lot of people thought Nyambayar maybe because his punches were a little bit more impactful. Sometimes we kind of score those rounds a little bit more than they should be, right? Because we score boxing round by round. So maybe he did get more credit for that. But what are your views on that fight?
Nyambayar got knocked down. He got dropped. And then the referee was like, nah, that was a slip. Nah, he got punched and he fell down. So that's why I said it was controversial. Yeah. So if the judges called it a draw without that, then Lucas should have won that because he literally knocked Buddy down, dropped him.
Think about it too, man. It was like it was clear, man. You know, and it might not have been one of those hard shots, but I would have called it a jab, a short jab. I mean, that's what it looked. It didn't even look like
it was a jab.
But we seen what Charlo did with a jab. We seen what Larry Holmes have done with jab. People have been stopped, dropped, you know, with the jab before. Now, the guy was definitely in the process of swinging and missing this old crazy punch, but he got hit, man, and he got a clean. And it was clean.
It is all right. But so let me think about it. So I don't necessarily know if he was hurt, but think about. But that was a little bit different. But think about Floyd Mayweather against like Zab Judah, right? So like remember that? So like Zab knocked down Floyd. Do y'all remember that?
What? Unofficially, yeah, but not officially. I mean, I think Floyd.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the same thing, right? You know what I'm saying? If
is that what happened here? I didn't watch the fight. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch. Is that what happened?
Buddy got rocked. He got rocked with a brick, and then they swerved and he dodged them. But then he got hit with a jab and then fell. The brick is what hurt him. Yeah. But the jab, he fell down off that jab. Mm. So it's not really the same. He was hurt and he fell.
Well, I mean, what I was saying is that the guy was like swinging. So there's a determination that if he was hit and did he go down from the momentum of the punch, or sometimes if you're kind of swinging it, like there's a momentum from that. But he was definitely hurt. But as far as the jab, then there was a determination. But you know what? Like, let's use this kind of like as a segment to kind of break it down. Let me see if they'll have it available. Let's see that Jared's looking in there. But
also about that fight, Lucas took that fight on 10 days notice from South Africa in 10 days, and then he gave that performance, man. That give credit to him, man. Yeah, staying ready.
Yeah. This cat's 37 years old too.
How old is he?
He's 37. This guy, Lucas.
Imagine, man, 37, got to fly across the world and be in 10 days, get a fight for your life, and give Lucas a credit.
Yeah, definitely kill that audio. Don't get us flagged now. Man, it's a damn shame this shit was in Atlantic City, man. It open seats at ringside here. Look at this shit.
Hey, man, COVID. So, who knows, man?
All right. It's Atlantic City. It's always like that shit in Atlantic City, man. It's unbelievable.
Hey, they need to bring the mob back in Atlantic City. Get that mob money back in there.
Hey, speaking of, while Cam doing whatever he's doing.
Yeah, I have this. So I want to be able to, because like we have it in super slow motion, but I actually want to be able to compare it to watching it in live action and then slow motion. But from there,
I guess I'm trying to figure out what's the I'm trying to figure out what's the point. So I agree with Randy. If it was a draw and this guy got knocked down, then yeah, the fight should have went. It should have been a draw.
That's a knockdown, fam. That's definitely a knockdown. He rocked the shit out this nigga. That was definitely a knockdown. They didn't rule. They ruled that shit a slip.
Bro, the referee was like, "Yo, he slipped."
Man, he looked like he almost tore his face off with that punch.
And
He
look,
almost-
look, yeah, it looked like a short, it looked like a nice short jab on him, man. So,
Now,
but
now
he-
Tug looked like he was a little off balance, but that don't matter. You
No,
punch
but
him,
it-
you off
yeah,
balance.
but like,
Right.
but from some angles, it looked like his foot slipped out from under him. But to me, I do agree. Like, if a punch lands and you go down, but what the same thing I was saying is that that's what happened against Floyd, and like Zab, a punch land and he went down, and like the referee came in. You can share your screen. I mean, so I'm gonna share my screen. Like, this one is this one live action? No, I mean, I was thinking you can share it through the
I
app.
guess what's the point? So if okay, and I can't really remember. I saw the fight. I can't remember all of it with Floyd and Zab, but if Floyd got knocked, if he truly got knocked down, then his ass was knocked down. I mean, I don't get the argument.
I don't get it either. And where Floyd got
No,
knocked
like
down was
Floyd has
totally
never.
different than this shit right here. This is totally different. If Zab had hit Floyd like this and Floyd had dropped abruptly like that,
Really? Hold
that'd
on.
been a
Like, what?
motherfucking
All right. So
knockdown.
let's watch this. Dropped abruptly. I
This
mean,
dude Tug hit
so,
the deck.
so this.
Yeah, he's a little bit off balance, Cam, but he's getting punched in the face while he's off balance.
That's a knockdown, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right,
like,
yeah.
all right, so you said that. So then I'm gonna pull up the Floyd versus Zab Judah.
Okay, I've seen that fight like a dozen times. It's apples
That's
to
all?
oranges here.
That's all.
Probably this is apples to orange comparison
That's
here.
all.
But look though, but Cam, my question too is this.
That one probably didn't impact the scoring as much.
Right. So it's like, I mean, you almost, bro. I hate to say this, man, but you sound like daggone Trump in this doggone election counter.
No,
you know
what I'm saying, no, because like this happens all the what I'm saying is like this happens all the time. So a knockdown is not a knockdown in boxing unless the referee rules that. Like we see that at least, you know what I'm saying? So but to think that it was that egregious, and like I don't think that he was hurt, right? You know what I'm saying? It was like I know, but it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is like y'all act like that this is beyond like the referee. Like when you see it happen, his foot kind of like slips out. So I don't know if he thought it was wet, but it's not that egregious where you act like he got.
Well, no, so to the referee's point, where he was standing, could he have missed it? That shot? Yes,
that's what it was. Yeah, his placement.
So if that's what you're saying, then yeah. But but it ain't after the fight and the decision is made. And when they showed that Joker, it ain't like he can go back and say, "Oh yeah, no, we need to change the score."
All right,
now
so
if they
I'm about to show this, so because y'all was saying that it was no comparison or whatnot. So this is Floyd Mayweather against Zab Judah, right here. So this is different, but this is from the lead hand. Zab was actually a check hook or whatnot.
He hasn't thrown any real punches.
And he came in and ruled it a knockdown. And then, but they'll go and kind of like show, but like, bam, hit, he goes.
That's a knockdown. His glove touch.
That's a knockdown. That's what I'm saying. But it was not ruled a knockdown. Like they should have stopped the fight. They should have gave him a count. He should have got 2 points for that. But it just, I mean, the thing I was saying is like y'all was saying is like that's.
I think then they say something about their knees got crossed up or bumped or something. Well, I can't remember.
I don't. No. It was just. It just happened. So
that.
no, what happened? It just their legs didn't cross at all. They were just so. It was just so high level, and their action was so fast and quick twitch that when they would just be bam, and then somebody would do it, and then you had to be like, make a decision, and then he just made the wrong decision on it.
The ref didn't see Floyd's glove touch the canvas, is what it
amounted. No, he saw it because he went and rubbed. Like I thought he went and kind of rubbed his gloves on his thing. Like I thought he saw that. I mean, but like I can go and like look back, but I thought because he actually came in there. Yeah.
So all right. So if like fuck Floyd, man. If he got knocked down, he got knocked down. This guy, the referee probably in the fight that we're talking about, the referee probably didn't see the fight. If the corner want to go and contest it, then let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? If his team want to, but when the referee made that statement and made that judgment, made that call, it is what it is. When they showed it to the ref in slow motion, the ref still said, "I don't know what you in it." And so that ref probably
it is.
probably,
I mean, and there's a lot to be said once you see it in slow motion, because I mean it's not even a second, it's a split second, right? It's a half of a second. But I've seen bad calls, and that was obviously a bad call. I think we all
Yes, it was, because I have it frozen right here on the YouTube from the highlights, and the ref is in perfect position. And this cat, he falls so violently, and his head is jacked so abruptly. I don't see how
what are you watching the same thing that we watching, man?
I'm watching the official.
I saw something that looked like
Showtime.
his foot kind of slipped out, and then he went and almost braced himself.
I'll tell you exactly what I'm watching. I have the Showtime highlights pulled up, and I am at 1 minute and 19 seconds. And if you pause this shit at 1 minute and 19 seconds, you can see this boy's head getting twisted all the way to his right shoulder, and he drops. And from this angle here, both of his feet, now his back foot is starting to slide out. Maybe he's trying to pivot or change positions. But when you get hit and you're off balance and you fall, and that's not like, oh, never mind, that don't count. Your ass got knocked the fuck down. And the ref is in perfect position. Like, I don't see how.
Okay, I mean, all right. So we can admit that the referee missed a call. That's happened, right? He didn't stop the guy from knocking him out, right? He got up, but the guy wasn't hurt. Like I said, the guy clearly was not hurt.
It's not he missed the call. It's like what Dave said.
That's the only thing that happened.
That the referee was sitting there watching it, and he still couldn't see that he made a mistake.
No. I mean, the guy's human. The guy's human. Right? The guy's trying to protect his reputation. That's right. And like that's like I don't know. That's his life, but he makes money off of that, and he's on.
Well, that's like, the case. Then that needs to be his last fight.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and then you wanted him just to hang himself and be like, "Yeah, I messed up. I cost this guy this. Yeah, take me now." But with that said,
I mean, no, because at that point,
what I was saying is like, obviously, people make I don't think it was that egregious. Like maybe, but like I think obviously there's gonna be a call for a rematch for this sake, and it should be. I think we're gonna get another very competitive fight, and I think in this instance, like that seems the most appropriate thing to do is just to have them do it again with another referee in there.
Hey, you know what?
I mean, it's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. If you done went 12 rounds with somebody and then you be like, I dropped them, I should have won. But now you saying, oh, it wasn't that egregious. I did enough
10 rounds. 10 rounds. 10-round fight.
Well,
10 rounds.
It was only a 10-round fight. He did enough to win, and then now you be like, rerun it. But
hey, it's called boxing. It's called boxing. You know?
Well, what might need to happen? Hey, you know what? This might if you push the argument, and I don't know. As quote boxing progresses, you know, it might kind of set the precedent, you know, for no different than what they do in football. Let us review the blah 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 blah.
No, that's not.
You know,
they've done that before though. They've got calls right. They've used that.
Hold up, hear me out. Hold the fuck up. Hear me out. Let me finish. Look, don't say it can't happen or wouldn't be right because of. What I'm getting at is this. In football, they might stop the play, they review it, they make a call, they reverse it. In boxing, if they were to implement something like that, that fight could have went on, right? So the corner can issue a challenge, but the fight still go on. Ain't nobody resting and doing that shit. And then they come back and they say, in the event of blah, 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 this is ruled a yada, yada, yada. And that could have changed the score. That could end all that. Happening like
you're
that.
Talking about a simplified sport like in football, and you're talking about boxing that has so many different sanction bodies and promotion. It's like it can happen, but like it has to have this infrastructure that would allow that to happen in there.
I mean, they've used replaying fights before. They've used replaying fights before where I've seen it. I've seen a state. I
No,
can't
wait,
remember the
wait, wait,
exact fight.
wait.
It was a fight in Pennsylvania because the commissioner, it's the whoever the
And they use it to decide if there was a knockdown
The check.
yes,
or what.
yes,
You
yes.
find out
Really?
before-
I've seen it before. Yes.
And that's
You
been
got-
accepted by the WBC, the WBO, and the WBA.
No, see, the sanctioning bodies don't have anything to do with it. It's the state commissioner. Whoever's the head
That's a
of the
good
state
point.
commission, he's sitting
It's-
ringside, and he's the one that gets up and says, "Hey, this needs to get
I know,
reviewed."
so it goes state by state.
Yeah, whoever's the
Exactly. That's what I'm
Pennsylvania
saying.
state commissioner
It's
was.
not
or whatever.
centralized. There's no governing body over all of this.
What does that have to do with anything?
If you can use it or not, it has to do with everything. What are you talking about?
It's just
Well,
state
wait,
by
wait,
state.
wait.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what that for you that compared to NFL, it doesn't matter where you play at the NFL, what city, what thing that you're doing, because it's the NFL. We know that we go by these rules. We can't have something that's consistent within boxing because it's so decentralized in it.
Yeah,
And
but I
But
think
but it's okay. It's okay if you don't want to. If you don't want to have that, then don't fight in that state. It ain't got to be centralized. If you don't, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. It's not in effect in all fights. So
I don't think it's used anymore at all. But I see what Randy and what Cam is saying. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research in this, and I'm curious
and
now
we'll come back.
if it is implemented across the board and it just whoever challenges the challenger. Now I'm gonna look this up and see.
All right, so
That's
one last
interesting,
thing, because we are a little bit low on time. So the last thing of the night is we got news, and I had did a screen capture shot, and I sent it to our little thread that we use to kind of do our topics, and it was that Anthony Joshua had accepted 15 million pounds for some step aside money to allow Tyson Fury to fight Alexander, Usyk, but that is not the case, right? I mean, so it's a little bit of cap, but we'll use this just as a forum to have a conversation to see what's going on, and hopefully you can kind of inform me, help me, because I'm a little lost on. So where do we stand? Is there been any, Randy? I think you're muted. Yeah,
I'm saying I think the offer was sent out there, but I don't think he took it or he signed anything. That's why I think he made that video saying that if it ain't coming from me, then don't believe it. But I mean, I think that's his pride talking. But if he was using his brain, he would take that 20 million, step back, let them fight, and then fight Fury again. Because I think Usyk's going to beat him, and then he's cutting his price.
Usyk,
Huh?
You said fight Fury.
No,
you mean?
I mean, and fight Fury. I think Usyk beats him again, and then if he wants to fight Fury, it'll be like a Dylan White situation where it'll be like 80-20.
So in your scenario, you think that he'll step aside, and that you think that Usyk will beat Fury?
No, he'll step aside. Fury beats Usyk.
Fury beats,
and then it'll be the mega fighter between Joshua and Fury. If he's smart. But his pride is going to be like, I'm not going to take a step aside. I'm going to fight Usyk and then lose. And if he loses twice to Usyk, and then the public still wants
he's not viable anymore. He's not viable if he loses twice to Usyk. And particularly because he was about to get knocked out in that last. But if the British public, the people in the UK still wants to see a Joshua Fury fight, it'll be like a Dylan White fight where it'll be 80-20, where Fury's going to take all the money.
I don't know about that shit, man. They're still going crazy for Kell Brook and Amir Khan. These guys are 40 years old. That fight's going to be on pay-per-view, man. I think that's still negotiate when it comes to finances. That's still a 50-50, maybe 60-40. Joshua is such a big brand. Yeah, it's not so much. Yeah, I really do, Randy. These guys on billboards.
Why would Fury sign a contract giving 50-50 to somebody that doesn't have a belt and not even in the top 10 anymore in the
Because
heavyweight.
there's so much money. There's so much money at stake, dude. Again,
So,
you talking about 50,
that to me, that makes me want to keep more of it. Just because it's $100 million, I'm not going to say since it's $100 million, I'm gonna take 50 million. You take 50 million. It's $100 million. I got all the belts. I want 80 million. You can get 20.
I understand that, but Anthony Joshua is still such a huge brand. I mean, Tyson Fury,
even after losing
Tyson
to
Fury
like,
is not
so, I mean,
endorsed
you're
by
saying
either
that,
boss.
but like, what happens
Anthony
if he gets?
Joshua, Tyson Fury's face is not on billboards when you fly into the Emirates. Like Joshua is still a huge commodity.
What happens if he gets knocked out by Usyk? Is he still that brand?
Well, now I don't know.
He was almost knocked out in that fight.
He was almost
like, I saw more opportunity. Even though I thought he could have knocked out Usyk if he would have just applied a little more pressure. I was more on the edge of my seat of with Joshua being knocked out in that fight. Like he looked shaky. If
Usyk had another 60 seconds in that 12th round, he'd at the very least he'd have put Joshua down. Joshua was ready to go.
He doesn't deal with adversity well, so I don't know how you can keep on selling this, particularly if he gets like smashed. You know, it's like how many times you going to show the abs and do this? Is like, come on, you are a fighter. You have.
I mean, he lost to a guy with breasts, and it was still a huge fight.
But he had to come back. I didn't. I appreciate the win. I still, it didn't alleviate all my concerns about Joshua, because he seems mentally just a fragile brother, unfortunately.
He's a head case, man. He's a head case, and he seemed like he's got chin issues, and I can't think of a worse combination of things in a sport, man, where you have no chin and you a head case. That's a bad combo, especially in that division where you're margin for error.
Y'all are so big and heavy for that. Yeah. So, like, Coach, what's your thoughts on?
No, I'm with you on that one, Cam. I think you hit it on the head. I think I'm with both of y'all, man. Just to sum up basically what you two guys said, and I just hope the people heard the wisdom in it. You lose to a guy with breasts. Yeah, you still viable because people want to see their champion rise from the ashes. Okay, you come back, you run the whole fight, and you beat Ruiz. Then you turn around and then you lose to Usyk. But I'm with Randy too on. Nah, man, you ain't getting no $50 million. And I don't even like to talk about money. I like to just talk about the kicking butt. But nah, you lose. You are not gonna get.
If he gets smashed, it's particularly if he gets smashed, like if he get wasted by him, he gonna become a meme. Like we had to, he looked like against Ruiz, like I gave him credit for doing that, but like that was almost kind of abject failure. Like he seemed to kind of crumble,
Man,
like doing.
I negotiate 80-20. I let him talk a bit, and then I let him talk. And just to make the fight, I might go 70-30. I wouldn't go less than that. I would not go less than 70-30. I would not, and that's pushing it. That's pushing.
So like that. So to go back full circle, he should, if he's smart, the smart business move is to take the 20 million, step aside money, because he's guaranteed to fight the winner of the Fury.
Absolutely. It seemed too easy, but it's it's boxers and their pride.
His pride is going to have him.
Let's go back for a second now, because I think it was you, Randy, because I'm shocked to hear this, because I think it was me and somebody else that kept on saying Wilder should step aside and let Fury and Joshua fight.
That was me. I said that.
I wasn't here for that.
The thing I was like, I always thought that Wilder should have stepped aside, because particularly is that I didn't think that he should go right back, because I felt that if he lost twice, and I thought that he was gonna lose, badly against him, he has nowhere to go. I was like, take this step aside, go fight somebody like a Ruiz, knock them out, and then so Joshua has that opportunity to kind of do what Wilder didn't do. I think you're.
Right.
I think.
But you know what I'm saying. At the same time, if you looked at the board, he could have. If he stepped aside, there was no guarantee he would have ever fought for a belt again. You know what I'm saying? Because
it was Wilder, man. It was Wilder, man. That's cap. That's Wilder, man.
Everybody's talking about his cap.
Let me
they do it all the time with all
quick.
the other weight classes. Why couldn't they do it?
If he would have, like, everybody would have been, I mean, Wilder could have been able to get that fight. That was his pride. Like, this guy never even accepted his loss, and he was there. But if he would have let Fury and Joshua fight, he could have fought the winner. He had the and he would have just had an easy payday. He could have had more time to improve.
Let me interject here real quick, and this is to Randy's point, and this backs up what Randy was saying and debunks what I was saying. The year is 2002, January 26th. Shane Mosley, who was undefeated at the time, goes in against Vernon Forrest and gets the shit kicked out of him. He goes in again for the rematch and gets his ass kicked again. Comes back after back-to-back losses, goes in against Raul Marquez, who is a name at that time. No contest. I believe there was a headbutt or somebody got cut. So two back-to-back losses, a no contest. He goes in against Oscar. He goes in against Oscar De La Hoya and wins. Now,
that was a gift decision.
To Randy's point, the purse split was 25-75 in favor of Oscar De La Hoya. So if you are Anthony Joshua, and this is to Randy's point, debunking my argument. If you were Anthony Joshua, I don't want 25% or 30% of that pot. I want those belts back, and I want to be able to have that leverage.
You better win. You better win. You better not get your butt beat twice in a row.
Right.
That's what happens when you do that. So what happens, it all comes out. If you perform, then that's what happens. The ball is in your court.
It's still a business. Like you like to say, this is still a business.
No, you have to perform. You have to perform.
So the Usyk Fury fight, even if you want to give it good odds, is a 50-50, right? Even if you want to give it good odds, 60-40, 50-50.
Maybe.
Or you can sit out, get 20 million, and then be
no. I'm not saying that, like, Randy. So me and you haven't been arguing that point. I'm not saying that, but I
thought you were saying he should fight Usyk and then keep going. I'm like, he should take that step. The original premise of this segment is, should he take that step aside? He should take that step aside.
So if he,
I definitely think that. Randy,
if he takes the step aside money, takes the 15 million step aside. He waits for the winner of
15 million pounds. Yeah.
15 million pounds is $20 million.
15 million. He takes a step aside, and then he sits on the sidelines and he watches Usyk Fury, right? Who's to say that Usyk and Fury don't fight 3 times? What if Usyk...
The contract. What you get when you take that step, this is the contract. Regardless of what's what, if I'm the mandatory, it's supposed to be me. If I step aside, then you put on ink that I got next.
All right. So if that's in the contract, he takes a step aside. What is he able to negotiate? 50-50, 60-40? What?
I don't know. It's more favorable than him taking a loss.
It might be a little, to answer his question, the purse might be a little bit lower because you already got 20 million up front.
For nothing.
So I take, so basically it's two paydays, however you look at it. 20 million for watching, and then whenever you do get to fight.
20 million for watching is a lot of money to turn down.
Bro.
And then get better. And then, and so, like, my point was, I was telling them, I was like, let them take some damage. When I was telling, like, Wilder to kind of do that, let them get a little bit of damage, because no matter what you think, when you step in the ring, particularly when you're that big, you're going to leave a little bit in there. So, and then get better. And then come in there. But with that said, we are about at that time I guess we're gonna see if we can do a little bit of a outro. But does anybody, while I pull that up, have anything that they want to?
I want to
say
bring
while
up. So right as of now, Canelo has 2 offers on the table. One from PBC to fight Charlo at one for the 168 belt, and then
Okay.
Matchroom offered him a 2-fight contract, one with Bivol, and then the second one will be with Triple G for all 4 belts at 168.
Oh God.
Oh my.
So those are the 2 contracts he got. The one he got to choose one of them for the Cinco de Mayo fight.
Cinco de Mayo.
What I heard was that PBC has already outbid the zone. That's what I heard was that PBC.
I would imagine that. And then it's only a 1 fight. Let me do 1 fight,
Yeah.
get rich,
Okay,
and
okay.
then go to another.
Yeah. Because they're a fourth. Yeah, that just okay. All right.
What
So
I also heard was that contract would have been for DAZN pay-per-view. It would not have been on the streaming service. They would have
really?
DAZN would have put those fights. That's what I heard.
They're gonna set
Pretty
us up for
reliable-
failure if they were gonna do that.
From pretty reliable
So
sources.
we already
those
paying
2
for
fights would have been
a
on DAZN pay-per-view.
subscription. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what they would have been, because they weren't going to pay him what I heard 50 million for Charlo plus gate in Dallas. That's what the word on the street is. It's Dallas. He's getting some of the gate. He's getting pay-per-view buys, and DAZN ain't offering that. Bevel ain't nobody coming out. I mean, people will come out because it's Canelo, but not like they will against Charlo. They ain't gonna fill up Jerry's world.
Yeah.
But mark my word, if that fight, once that fight is made, if it is, I'm gonna go pull up the episode because I got 2. I think I got a lobster and like a shrimp dinner.
Yeah, whatever is in your imagination, I'm sure.
Okay, we'll see.
A pot of gold, whatever else you felt like you negotiated. I know we agreed to buy your ass no lobster dinner. Definitely not down here.
All right. With that said, another episode. We're taking y'all out. You know who it is. Pundits of Pugilism.